Hey, wanted to throw out a quick backyard adventure that's actually more of a tour of the backyard. I'm going to do 4 of these. I'm going to do one each season. So this is the first one here in the spring. Here in the Northwest, things are just starting to come alive, but not really much flowers, much color yet, but you're starting to see the buds breaking and things come back from dormancy. So I thought I'd walk you around the yard, show you a few things about not only kind of where I play, but what this backyard adventure currently looks like. It'll probably be pretty interesting to see this compared to 3 months from now in the summer, and then next fall when you get to see just the full mature beauty of what's going on. So let me start back here behind me and walk you through kind of what's going on in the yard, show you some of the plants and some of the different things, and hopefully this is interesting. So enjoy. Let's go for a tour of the backyard, see the garden, seeing what's going on back here. So first off, we're starting from the house looking towards the backyard, and you can kind of see spring is in the air. Things are growing, but not nearly colorful like it will be this summer. So starting out, let's come over here. We've got this Japanese maple, beautiful red bark. This is just planted, so I'm pretty excited about that. Replaced a tree we used to have here in this spot. And then got this strange plant. I'm not quite sure what this is. An old friend and coworker had this in their yard. It was in a giant pot when he moved out, and took it, planted it. It's gotten super huge. It was kind of like a tree-ish kind of bush. I don't know what it is, so if you know, put it in the comments, but it has like a light pink flower when it blossoms. And then this has this green thing at the bottom. It's not part of the plant, but they were in the pot together, and it's always been that way. Oh, let's go to the statues. We've got some of our little bunnies who are just enjoying. In fact, I think the real bunnies are actually eating that grass flower thing, whatever it is. Bridge made from a family member when we moved here. And then we've got our old rose garden. So this is where we used to have a lot of the roses. I still have a lot of them, but I took a couple out and put them in the new rose garden, and put some dahlias in here. So those are still not coming up. Here's a fun one, peony that dug up last year from a good buddy who was moving out of a place, selling it off, and we had a couple hours before we had to go, and so we dug it up, and it survived. It went through the heat wave and all that. This currently perhaps kind of ugly thing is actually a beautiful Tropicana azalea. When we moved here years ago, this thing, here's the buds. This Tropicana azalea was in between some lilacs, totally suffocating, little tiny thing, and saw one blossom pop out. I'm like, oh, there's something there, I gotta save it. So dug it up and moved it over here, and it's done real well. I've actually been able to duplicate it a couple times, so there's a few of them around the yard. Here's part of the old rose garden with some of my favorite roses that are coming alive. They'll be so beautiful when you see the summer edition of this video. All right, so looking up here towards the patio, thought I'd show you here the patio cover. Built this a few years back over our patio with northwest winters and spring and rain. Nice to have covering as well as in the summer the shade. So whether we're taking the dog out, the barbecue and smoking, just times we can entertain, but it's still kind of moist out. Just been great to have. Start out as like a Costco pergola. We're like, oh, let's go build one of those like Costco has. And then we're like, you know what, let's make it bigger. And it just grew. It's actually 2 separate structures joined in the middle with a little bit of roofing, but just with trying to follow some different code situations, that's how we did it. But it's been a lot of fun. The lighting, there's more things we'd like to do. The fans to help kind of bring a little bit of a breeze when it's hot out. But it's been kind of a fun structure, a lot of possibilities, entertaining, that sort of thing. This will be a path I'm looking at doing, putting in kind of like a cool brick or rock path going out to the studio. So that's something that's on my to-do list. And then just put this grass seed in here under our new arch. Got a little bit more features to put on the arch, but I want to get that grass planted while I can. So it's been out for a little over a week. So just finishing up germination. We should start seeing some grass popping through the next couple days. The weather can warm up a little bit. But there's that former rose garden. It's now still half roses, but some dahlias, and here's another one of those Tropicana azaleas. That was one of the starts I had a couple years back, and doing real well. Got some clematis and a lot of wisteria that grows up over this arch and just creates this cool, beautiful thing as that blossoms a couple times a year. I do have some more wisteria around this arch. It's going to grow up. I've got it on both sides. But just planted it. It was some starts I had from my old arch that we took out, and so it'll take a couple years to wrap up around there, but that'll be a really cool feature when it gets all mature. There's some hydrangea. Over here is the Rose of Sharon. One of my earlier videos that I had a couple videos on transplanting and then pruning. Again, also pruning a hydrangea. Those have that cool blue flower, purple flower, pink flower, a couple different varieties. Super excited about this. So here's the rose garden. So just put this in. The last two at the very end are transplants, but the rest of these are bare roots that are coming to life. You can see the red-green foliage that's coming out, but I'm super excited about seeing the flowers here and just seeing what that does to the yard. Looking out across, there's the fire pit. Put that in a couple years ago as a Mother's Day gift, and enjoyed fires around that and just having that. And I think my son actually uses it more for fireworks than anything else, or just experiments, things that can blow up. Get away from the house, go in the fire pit. That's what we tell him. Here's the rose garden again, the bridge, some of the statues. You're probably noticing some of the statues I've got scattered around. Got some videos about those, some new videos that are coming out soon about how to deal with some statue issues. So there's the girl with the bowl. It's kind of like a little bird bath, or I'll put bird food in there sometimes. Kind of fun to watch the little birds. There's a tortoise. Moving up to the lilac on the right, and then there's our plum tree. Nice, sweet, dark purple plums. So been fun. Let's talk about these big trees here on the right. These are called American sycamore. So as a kid, I remember, learning about the sycamore tree in the Bible, and Zacchaeus was a wee little man, and he climbed up a sycamore tree. And when I was looking on Craigslist about 14 years ago, I found 2 free sycamore trees. You dig them up, you can have them. So I went and dug them up. They were small at the time. Put them in the back of my truck. They were big, but they were not nearly like this. And these things have just shot up. They're huge. And they've actually been topped once by the power company. And that's probably about 5 years ago, 6 years ago. And they've filled in real nice. Just beautiful trees. Did learn once that fertilizer in the grass can actually affect, just from the roots, can affect the health of the tree. I had a year where the bottom third leaves were kind of withered and gross. And I think it was related to the fertilizer. So I've stopped using that. Back here, here's a Wright family special thing. These are filbert trees, or hazelnuts as some people call them. I got 4 of them in a row, and they've been producing a lot of nuts the last year or two, so really getting into maturity. The problem is the squirrels just go crazy, and they take every single nut that has meat inside, leave me the ones that are empty. So they'll spend a month out here just going crazy, and I see all the shells, underneath the tree. There'll be lots and lots of shells. Haven't figured out what to do about those squirrels, but there's actually 2 varieties. You're gonna notice there's the bright green, and there's the one that from a distance it almost looks like they're still dead or dormant. The leaves are just coming out. So just like other fruit trees and things, you need pollinators. So I think there might be 3 different versions, but there's at least 2 varieties here. And that's why you see kind of the differences right now, as the other ones are still waking up. Moving back here to the gardens, here's the raspberry trellis. These have been going real well for a number of years, and my daughter, my youngest, we love the raspberries, so we have a fun time out here eating those. Everyone actually loves the raspberries. Back to compost pile. Everybody needs a compost pile. And then there's 2 of these Wolf River apple trees. Wolf River apple. I don't know if you've heard of those, but they produce the biggest apple you will ever see. They're amazing. I'll do a video in the fall about that, show you some things, but pretty cool apple tree just to watch grow. Here's the blueberry bushes. I got a big row of those. Those were actually transplanted a year ago here. I had them back by those green hedge trees in the back. And when they were there, the trees were a lot smaller at the time. Years ago when I planted them, as they grew, the roots just started taking over the blueberries and suffocating the blueberry bushes. So there was a couple more of those green trees to the right. I took them out, but just killing the blueberries. So last year I dug them up, what was left, and moved them out here, and they came back to life in a real refreshing way. Some are still catching up, but hopefully in this new spot with great compost and mulch and sun, they're gonna do real well in the years to come. So got those kind of starting out the garden here. And you can see overall they look pretty healthy for kind of what they used to look like, at least. And then I got the rhubarb. Got here's a couple apple trees. There's a cherry tree in the distance there, but a couple. There's a Fuji here, and then I can't remember the other one, Brayburn or something. But A couple more apple trees, and here's my new love, the Cosmic Crisp with a Honey Crisp graft there on the pink. You can see that. Just planted this recently, made a video. You might have seen those pop up, but Cosmic Crisp apple, really yummy apple, new one that's out. Let's go over here to the garden, check out the marionberries. So looking over the fence, you can see here's the trellis, the marionberries. I planted these last spring, so about 11 months ago, and they grow on the second year. So this year I'm getting the fruit comes the second year, so I'll be getting my first fruit this year. Moving through the rototilled garden beds, just did that this last week, had spring break off, and so spent some time out here in the garden getting it ready. So I just need some starts and some seed and get the peas and the lettuce going soon. Looking across, there's some more rhubarb back there. Plans for the tomatoes and all that. So pretty excited about the garden. Just starting to warm up where we can start doing our planting. Probably in the next 2 weeks, we'll start seeing a lot of the weather change. Here's the strawberries. Notice that I got 2 of these pots on each of these ends. I put the strawberries in these baskets because the rabbits were getting them, and I wanted to see if I can get them to grow in hanging baskets. So it's kind of a fun way to do it. We'll see how, I might have to take those off once the marionberries really get going in the growing season, but at least for now they can hang out there. And get going through the garden. Let me close this gate. Looking across, we got the shelters or the buildings. That was the COVID project. Turned into a much bigger project than I thought it was going to be, but it was a lot of fun. We got the studio at the far end, the big building, and then there's actually a second building here. It almost looks like it's attached, but the shed, and they got my kind of covered area for lawnmower and tools and stuff there to the right. Oh yeah, here's the mason bees. Students at my school built these mason bee boxes or houses, and so I got those a couple of weeks back, and my wife recently found some cocoons that were available for mason bees, so those are still hatching. So I'm guessing in the next couple of days we'll see our bees coming out and hopefully making a home there. Then here's the shed. Well, I'm not going to go inside right now, but you can at least see there's the strawberries and all that. Looking across the yard. Just been a real fun place to play and experiment and see what nature does. Having people around, that sort of thing. So there's the workspace. We do a lot of the messy stuff in there, the sanding and the cutting, and I'll do plant stuff in there, statue stuff. Okay, so again, let me kind of take the video and just kind of show you around the yard again, kind of get your bearings of what's going on here. But a real fun blessing just to be able to come out here, whether it's by myself and enjoy or experiment, try things out, having people over, family time, just checking out different parts. Oh, I forgot about this. The cedar tree. Look at the cedar tree here. It's huge. It feels like it's double the size it was when we moved in. And even when we built the shed there, it was much smaller, wasn't nearly as wide. It grows. It's growing really well. We love it. But what I'm considering is taking the bottom 20 feet or so of limbs and just kind of cutting those off, opening it up underneath, and kind of cleaning it out, provide some more light around there, little different kind of space. And but once I cut those limbs, it's permanent. So really debating that right now. I've been thinking about that for the last 6-7 weeks about whether I should do that. But yeah, leave your comments. What do you think? Should I cut those limbs off, leave them? Have you seen those look good when they're trimmed up a bit? I do want to take you over here. There was something else that I just thought of, was the bamboo. Notice on the far distance there, the bamboo up along the fence. Beautiful hedge. Has a wonderful sound, but if you look at where those paving stones are, I actually dug a 2.5 foot or more ditch all the way around the bamboo. And then I put this thick black, it's a roofing material of some sort, but kind of like this super thick plastic black thing through there so that the roots won't shoot out and go out into the yard. But and that's kept it really well contained there. But beautiful hedge. It's got nice color. The birds just love to be in there constantly, whether they're living or hiding in there or whatever else. And then just the wind blowing through there. It's been a real treat. So, well, wrapping up today's backyard adventure. Hopefully this has been kind of fun for you to see where I play. This is my playground, and it's pretty fun to see stuff grow, try different experiments, build things and all that. You'll be seeing more stuff down the road as I continue to experiment and get whims and just do life. So Anyway, if you like what you see, please hit the like button, subscribe, and if you have any questions or comments or thoughts, love to see those down below, and have a good life.